Hi, everyone. Evan Einhorn, Modern Home Lending in Arizona. Just wanted to go over a few things about growing a team, which includes, when is the right time, you know, how you're going to hire, how you're going to train, all that kind of stuff. For me, being a broker owner, and even when I was a loan officer before, it's actually one of my favorite reasons why I am a broker because I control 100% of the hiring activity. Even if you don't control 100%, and you're just, you're a loan officer, maybe not a broker owner, I do think it's important that you get involved in the process of hiring your own loan officer assistant or processor, etc. Just because you're going to be working with them every day, and you should definitely have a say. So my team is the reason why I'm successful as a broker. Without my team, I'd be nowhere. So I hope you guys are listening. Everyone knows I do appreciate it. But it really is a team. When I'm out there, I don't say, hey, my employees. I'm talking about my team members because I'm in it daily with them. So I wanted to talk about when is the right time to hire because we're all guilty of it. I think a lot of us hire too late. When I first started my brokerage in 2018, I started with a full-time processor. Now, yes, it was a little scary because I had to have salary set aside for several months to make sure that I could pay him, even if we didn't close loans. Thankfully, we did. At the time, I was only closing between 5 and 6 loans at retail. So I had a full-time processor with benefits to start. Without him, I would not be where I am today. So I would say hire early, hire whenever there's a time that you would like to pass things off to someone else and you're willing to spend the time to train someone else. That's when I would jump in and hire early. I know there's some people that want to do a lot themselves. It is nice to have control. I try to scale everything for the future. So in 2010, when I started out being a realtor before I was a mortgage broker, I got a Google Voice number, a separate number from my personal cell. I've been giving that out for 11 years because my whole mentality is, hey, that's going to be our team number eventually. I don't want to be answering every single phone call. So if you can build systems out and then put people into the system, that's the most important. I would say before you hire someone, make sure that you have your process set up, because I think one of the biggest places where people fail is they hire someone and they're like, well, yeah, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, can you just help me with this or help me with that? Which is okay. But if you break down your process and break down what that person's going to do, they don't need to do everything on day one. They can maybe follow up with title and insurance conditions and payoffs and verifications of employment. And then they can start working with the borrower on underwriting conditions. And then they can start doing disclosures if you're a one-man team. Like, you can slowly train them on each separate thing. So I think it's very important. What do you want help with? What categories? It could be marketing. It could be processing. Processing is a big thing, so break that down. I did want to talk about how I hire. I think it's a little different than a lot of other people. When we're hiring, we are looking for someone that is detail oriented. I'm sure you guys know all know why in the industry. It's, you miss something, that could be someone's house closing. Personable, tech savvy, flexible, motivated, all that kind of stuff. I add tech savvy on there because us as brokers dealing with several lenders, you're not just dealing with one system and one portal. We're dealing with several lender portals. We're dealing with our own internal systems. So for me, that's extremely important. Now, as far as hiring goes, we build what we want into our hiring process. So I actually try to draw out the hiring process. Even if we are in a rush, which early COVID, we hired 2 processors. I was actually only looking for one, but I met 2 really great people and decided to hire both of them, and it ended up paying out in the end. So, the more time and money you spend on your business, it'll pay off and you'll get it out of your business later on. They've been great. It's been a year and a half. They've both been killing it. I will say we do use the process as a litmus test. So I know a lot of people say, like, a 4-year college degree means nothing. It's just a litmus test. Kind of the same thing. Like when we go through the process, when we're looking for someone that's tech savvy, we specifically ask them to take a typing test. It's a free typing test online. I tell them honor code. You can retake it as many times as you'd like, but we put very specific instructions in the email of please take the typing test. Then screenshot your results, attach it to the emails and attachments. Also, when you're done with that, go to taking this personality test, submit it on there. It'll automatically send it to us. No need to send it. So I know that's a simple task. You'd be surprised how many people don't do that properly. And that's an easy, no go. I mean, if you're looking for someone marketing, etc., that doesn't, need to be up that alley, that's completely different. If you're looking for marketing, I would look at personality. I would look at their portfolio. I would look at their actual skills. I'm probably not the best person to ask as far as marketing because my marketing person's been with me for several years and I haven't had to hire, but I have hired a lot of operations staff. And every time we hire, I reach out to as many people as possible. I think Shelby mentioned this, that, hey, he reaches out to as many people as possible, family, friends, coworkers, etc. I don't like job postings. I try to get as many referrals as possible. So early COVID, we talked to 6 candidates. I loved 2 of them throughout the process, and we hired both. All 6 were referred to me by either, one was actually another mortgage broker that knew I was looking for someone, had a client. One was a past client, someone, friends, family, etc. Because I tell people, hey, I'm looking for someone that's tech savvy. I'm looking for someone that's detail oriented, that's personable. So as far as processing goes, our processors do talk to clients. If your processor doesn't talk to a client, maybe they don't need to be as personal, but they still need to be a good team player. So you need to figure out what you want up front, and then through the process, vet for that. I did want to throw out there, AIME Fuse. It was great to see Simon Sinek there when he said, and I'm going to incorporate it in our new hiring process of tell people about your why, tell people about your mission, and then see their reaction. I think that's huge because everyone on our team believes in our mission that, hey, we are here to help borrowers. We are here to help them get the best deal. We enjoy helping people. We're not in it for the dollar signs. So that's something that I've definitely talked about during the process of hiring. And it is definitely a 2-way interview between you and the prospective employee of making sure, hey, are they on the same page as far as your mission goes? Because if they are there just for the dollar signs, then you know what? They'll go somewhere else because someone can always pay them more. I love my team. We also are able to work remotely. So again, another reason they need to be tech savvy, personable. I can trust them, flexible, motivated. While they're flexible, motivated, I'm also flexible too. So, I would be upfront with them of, hey, here's what your hours are going to look like. I also don't care if our employees work 40 hours a week if they're getting their stuff done. So I think that's a huge misconception out there that you need to work 40 hours a week. We don't require that if you're getting your stuff done. So draw out the process because you'd be surprised if you talk to someone 2-3 times, if you're communicating via email, text, just that alone, you'll be able to see their communication style and you'll be able to see if they're a good fit or not. So never interview someone just once. Try to throw some mini tests in there. Again, you can take the example of a typing test and screenshotting it, or having them do a free personality test online, screenshotting it, sending it to you, setting deadlines for them. I mean, there's several applicants that miss deadlines of sending me stuff. There's several applicants that don't actually follow easy 1, 2, 3 instructions, and they might say, hey, I got the words per minute test and, here's my results kind of thing. So small stuff, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm looking at small stuff, trying to draw out the process. And it's good because you guys get to know each other through the process. So everyone I've hired, I've done at least 3 calls. I've had them do a personality test, typing test. I should say recently, at the beginning, it was more willy-nilly as far as hiring goes. I always look at their past experience. I'm not a huge fan of hiring someone with mortgage experience. Um, I haven't hired anyone with mortgage experience unless they were a referral from someone else in the industry that was singing their praises. I did hire one person through an online job board, and it just was not a good fit. Like, she was an expert, but just not a good culture fit. So don't be drawn out there just because they're an expert in everything, because that doesn't mean they're a good fit for your team. The majority of people we've actually trained from scratch. So that brings me into something like, as far as processing, you know, being a loan officer assistant, there's definitely, it's very important to have specific training set in place, or at least subjects that you'd like to go over in different areas that you'd like them to learn. And it's not throw all of them, everything at them at once. I will say, UWM Success Track, if you can line that up with your hiring, and you're hiring someone green to the industry, that does give them a great baseline. So at least they can understand some basic information about mortgages before you dive a little deeper. I also will say, don't expect to get much from your employees in your first 1, 2, 3 months. I think that's where a lot of people fail, is they say, hey, I have this employee, I've trained them, and I expect them to do well. So my training process is kind of a 3-part process. I'll take disclosures, for example. So we have a disclosure associate, which for a loan officer assistant, processor, or disclosure associate, I do look for all those similar traits: tech savvy, detail oriented, personable, flexible, and motivated. I'll be honest, I don't hire a bunch of loan officers. I give props to people that hire loan officers. I think, finding a great loan officer can be tougher than finding a great operations person, because you want to look for someone that treats your operations staff well, fits your culture, and also knows how to do loans. That I would really look at where they've been and why they're moving. A lot of people jump ship from shop to shop to shop and are with a new company every 2 years. If I was hiring a loan officer, that's not who I would hire. But going back to what training looks like. So I'll give the example of like our disclosure person. He's great. He handles all disclosures up front, and he helps set up the file for processing, organizes all the documentation for our processors, so that way it's a little cleaner once the processor gets into the file. So it's kind of a 3-step training process with him. One, I went through somewhere about 15 to 20 disclosures with him. So I actually personally went through that myself and said, hey, here's how we do disclosures. Because at the time we hired him, I was personally sending out the disclosures and then letting processing take it from there. So I went through about 15 to 20 files on my own. Then I let him do about 5 to 10. And then from there, I gave him the reins and said, hey, we've been through about 30 files. I'll let you take the rein. Now, you can do whatever you'd like. If you close, 5 loans a month, maybe you do the first month of, hey, I'm going to do everything. And then you let them drive and you let them disclose 5 files while you're watching. And then I think it's important to give them the reins and say, hey, here's the file. Let me know if you have any questions. And of course, they'll come back to you with questions, or, hey, at the end of it, let me double check everything. So it is a process of watch me do, let me watch you do, and then you do on your own, because it's so much different when they're on their own trying to do something. Because I have one of my employees who's like, I always second guess myself when I'm not with you, but it's good because it pushes them to learn even further. So again, kind of the steps for training: success track if possible, let them shadow you, you shadow them with certain tasks. Obviously, you can't shadow them for 40 hours. They can totally shadow you for 40 hours a week. It's really good if people are cross-trained. So now, like, we have a couple of new loan officers new to the industry. Like, I do some of the training, current loan officers do some of the training, and then some of my admin operations staff who help run AUS and everything on the back end helps with some of the training. So definitely letting them meet your team and talk to several people is very important, because not only do they get different perspectives, but they might be a little cross-trained, and it also helps relieve you, and it really does build that team environment. So to close out everything, just if you had to take away anything from this playbook, I would say hire early and before. Um, we make a decent amount of money in the mortgage industry that we can hire employees. And I love it because I think one of the greatest things in the world is to give someone a job and a career. So hire early, define your systems, define what you're looking for in a candidate, and then make sure your hiring process matches that. Try, if at all possible, to get referrals, and then make sure you have a training process in place where you're shadowing them, vice versa, or at least someone on your team is set up. So there's no one right way to hire. There's no one right way to train. This is how I've seen success. I hope you guys do too. If you guys ever need anything, AIME is a great resource. You can always reach out to me. Again, Evan Einhorn, Modern Home Lending. But appreciate you guys joining me today, and good luck with growing your team. We'll see ya.